Welcome to the Circle Star Firearms and Outdoors podcast, your home for the latest products and news in the shooting sports, hunting, and the great outdoors. And now, here are your hosts, Jake Coffin and Jason Westmoreland.
Hey everybody, it's Jake and Jason here from Circle Star Firearms and Outdoors.
I was waiting for you to quit stretching.
Oh no, I was thinking about tacos. I don't know why, but just tacos come. It happens on a regular basis. Tacos come into my mind. But anyways, hey everybody, it's us.
It's never a bad time to think about tacos, to be honest.
Oh, quit, because now that's all I can think about.
So a couple weeks ago,
Oh my gosh.
one of the greatest days here at the store. Abby, some of y'all have met her, some of y'all haven't. The new lady that's helping us with keeping our books all square and right.
You're gonna make me say bad words for this story.
This was for Cinco de Mayo. So her parents are from Mexico, and her dad offered to come, and I guess her brother to come up and cook. Uncle, there you go. Yep. To cook for Cinco de Mayo for us. So we had a little celebration. We were making margaritas and we were having tacos. But Jason, in whatever dimension he was thinking about this, he scheduled his, he got to be healthy. So he scheduled his first big boy colonoscopy
For the next day. The doctor scheduled it.
The next day.
And I did not realize that I had to start doing the we'll be polite and call it cleansing on Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, and so they're outside, they're cooking, it's all going good. And so he can't have anything. So the rules were that was Sunday. So dinner on Saturday had to be light. And then it was just clear liquids and no food, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
that's how I remember it.
And the colon blow.
Yep.
So he's now like 18 hours-ish, no food. He gets hangry.
Oh,
it's brutal. Either way. So for y'all that have been in the store, there's the showroom up front, and then right behind it is what we call our back room. Where we got little extra inventory, the boxes, just kind of a utility room there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's so angry that he's standing back there against the wall, facing where her dad is making the tacos. He's like, I can smell him through the wall.
I couldn't smell him through the damn wall.
Like, no, you can't. He's like, yes, I can.
It was like,
and I was so happy
licking the window. The taco berries taste like taco berries.
And he was just stomping around, mad. And the way we do Sundays is that we have somebody come in. There's a couple folks that stay all day, and we kind of flex 2 spots. Someone shows up late, someone leaves early.
Lets people go to church and enjoy the day with the family.
And so Jason's wife, Mel, shows up around lunchtime or so, and the tacos are ready, and they are absolutely fire. They're on point.
Nope, not on point anymore. Now they're bussing.
They're, according to Travis, they're bussing. So, but I want to paint this picture in your mind for there in the radio land. Imagine the best street tacos you've ever had, authentic. The tortillas were like just right, crispy enough give. There's homemade salsa, there's homemade pico, like all the seasonings right, and there's just these just melt in your, just amazing. And there's 2 flavors. There's a pork that had a little bit of a grilled onion and pineapple in it, which was amazing. And then there was just like your regular like beef street taco that had cilantro and onion and chopped up fajita.
I'm still salty about this.
And he's supposed to stay, he wasn't supposed to stay all day, but he's supposed to stay a little longer. And I'm trying to make him go home. I'm like, you're kind of being salty, and I need you to leave. Like, you're just bringing us down. Because he's stomping around. He's slamming like clipboards.
It's not just the tacos. Dustin brought a damn margarita, like from scratch, made margaritas there on the counter for everybody.
We're
Everybody's
squeezing lime juice.
And it's not just, he didn't just make enough tacos for like us. Every customer that's coming in, they're getting these street tacos, talking about how great they are. And everybody, I can hear them.
And this is like the one time I'm a little sympathetic to him. Because I really don't, not that sympathetic, Jason. Like,
we're not.
No.
You shouldn't be.
No. And so I'm eating these tacos, and then it's you have these involuntary noises. Just like you take a bite, you're like, oh, yeah, that's good. Oh, And he's like, and I'm like, nah, they're okay. Like they're just regular tacos. And then Mel's like, these are the best tacos I've ever had. I'm like, shut up.
Everybody out there. So I'm in the back room now, and all I can hear is like 10 people in a 5-minute period. God, these are for real the best tacos I've ever had in my life. Man, that margarita is on point. And finally, I just like walk out. I'm like, I'm out.
It gets so good. So we started the margaritas, and he's doing them legit. So it is fresh squeezed lime
Hand
juice,
squeezing the limes.
a little bit of, it wasn't whose was it? It's not triple sec. It wasn't Grand Marnier. It was another orange liqueur. It'll come to me in a second. And it was Código silver tequila, and they were great. But we ran out. And so we've had a bottle of Don Julio 1942 laying underneath there for a while.
No way.
So
you guys are punks.
that was by far the greatest margarita I've ever had.
So while you were enjoying that margarita, I went home and drank my colon blow. And I'll tell you something about this product. So
The name's on point.
it's not what they actually call it, but it's 2 small bottles, and they're like 4 or 6 ounces. And you take one about lunchtime that day, and then one you got to wake up at like 4 a.m. in the morning before your procedure and take it at least 4 hours before your procedure.
Yeah, they want you squeaky clean.
I had no idea. I didn't properly prepare for how quick it works. And I figured, I got half an hour. Nope. You got about 3.5 minutes. And that last 10 seconds between 3:20 and 3:30 is pretty hairy. Like, if you're not already sitting on the toilet, yeah.
What you're telling me is you don't need a complicated belt buckle or not a lot of stuff in the hallway?
No. I will say, I've never had my legs fall asleep so many times. It was bad. So, and you can't, I mean, there's nothing, you can't play on your phone and enjoy anything in life, or it's just miserable. And then.
So were the tacos at least good the next day when they were?
They were so good cold that oh my God, I can only imagine what they were like fresh. Like, because, they put I didn't warm them up because there was pico in there and there was the onions and all that. And I was like, And, but golly, they were
So
good.
they were homemade corn tortillas, and he was sitting there like cooking them on the cojín. And so they had just a little bit of that char, and they're hot and kind of crispy on the edges. We need to get them up here again.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'll put a little more forethought into the planning. When I came to, I could eat. And I was like, what can I eat? And they're like, anything. So closest restaurant was Whataburger. I got a large chocolate milkshake and like a double. I'm like, food.
I told Abby, if her dad ever gets, he gets bored or retires or something, I said, we'll put him to work just on tacos up front. We'll start Abby's dad's taco stand like right next door.
The smell was amazing.
Apparently, you can smell it through a wall.
Yeah. When those primal instincts come in enough, you can sniff it.
But it wasn't so much what you said; it was how you said it. He's like, "I can smell them through the wall." Like you just growled it. And I was like, "Oh, I'm going back out front."
And then everybody kept offering them to me. I'm like, I can't. Like, I cannot.
That's the best part. So if you ever want sympathy, this is not the place for it.
So, hey, everybody, we said this at Circle Star Firearms and Jake and Jason, but if you're listening, thank you.
It's all about y'all.
We sure appreciate you. Liking and sharing, doing all that good stuff.
We wouldn't keep doing it if we weren't growing, getting new listeners, the people giving us good feedback, what you like, what you don't like. So we're learning.
We're digging it. So we've done some real informative shows. We've done some not so informative shows. We've had some cool guests on. And one request we've had is they want some more of the funny. And I'm like, well, what do we do? What do we do? How about we've all got, being type A personalities, we have a ton of funny hunting stories that we love to tell.
Oh, yeah. It kind of makes sense because we're hunting at the moment.
Yep, absolutely.
Doesn't sound like it.
Doesn't sound like it, but we're in Montana in the backwoods.
So trying to get the bear.
The bears.
With a little luck, by the time this post up, we'll have a bear.
That'd be cool. But hunting stories, everybody's got one. Everybody likes to share them. Everybody's got one or two that just stick out. We get to hear them all the time, which is great because our customers come in and they share their experiences with us. We every good hunting trip has at least one story, but every once in a while you just get some that are epic.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what we're going to talk about today. So
just recap some of our best times in the woods.
Whether they were fun, scary, hairy, whatever. Just an incredible learning experience, or you screwed up all the way around.
Oh, I got those.
Yeah, I think everybody who's been in the woods long enough has. So, who wants to kick off?
Let's start off with you. What's your How do we want to do this, Dave? We want to do it
I'll tell you
best, funniest, and worst?
My
Or?
first, because they go together kind of hand in hand.
All right.
My first two. So when I was a young man, my grandparents lived in Arkansas, and I'm 6, 7, 8 years old. My grandfather was an avid coon hunter with dogs. He loved his blue tick hounds. And he would go out a lot of times by himself, but with other family members, and they'd go out and they'd stay out all night. And they'd come back and they had these stories at breakfast that were just, man, I needed to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. And, it was always, for a long time, no, you're not big enough. No, you're not big enough.
Yep.
And then then it got to, all right, if you think you're big enough, let's go. So I remember twice I chickened out. I got all my gear on and everything. We started making it down into the woods from the house, and coyotes started striking up.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, coyote won't hurt me. No, at your size, you probably don't have to worry about the coyotes, but you need to stay in between us because of mountain lions. I'm like, all right, I'm good. So I turn around with my little headlamp and everything and go back up. Well, finally, I manned up enough to where I went out with them the first time. And I'm so excited. And first raccoon they treed, I'm looking up there with my spotlight, and they're all yelling. There's so much action going on, and I'm just soaking it all in. And they jump the raccoon out of the tree, and he lands on my face. And
of all places.
It knocks me, it gets so much better. It knocks me down. The dogs trample me, and I'm kind of caught in amongst them. And I get up. I'm okay. I'm a little dazed. But that was the end of that hunt. We didn't get any more the rest of that night. About a week later, I got to go hunting again.
All right.
Same group of guys. I think my dad was there. My grandfather was there. My uncle was there. They went to jump a coon out of the tree. He wouldn't go, so they shot him. When he fell on my face. He fell. Oh, yep. This time he was dead.
That's even funnier.
Oh, yeah, because I have raccoon blood all over my face. And I'm looking up and I'm like, even at like 8 years old, I'm like, I'm probably doing this on purpose. Like, this just doesn't happen. Because I'm asking them, I was like, has it ever happened to you guys? They're like, no, just you. Maybe you shouldn't stand right under the tree or something. But that's where you see them at.
Yeah, I have.
So, but doing this with the older tribesmen, the elders walking around in the woods and everything, they're telling me, we're Doddridge, Bloomberg, Arkansas, that area right there, Falk. Mm-hmm. They're telling me the stories of the Boggy Creek swamp monster. Ooh. And everybody's got one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And everywhere's from that area, that's their Bigfoot, right? And grandparents, yeah, it's real. And then they tell their experience.
Hey, remind me to get back to Bigfoot. It happened to me, but I know the guy it happened to. It's a great story.
So my cousin Steven, best guy in the world, as country and cool as you could get. He is a mountain of a man right now. He makes Steve Austin look like a ballerina. Like he is just the best, most hardcore outdoor enthusiast, still farmer. So him and I decide, hey, we're going out in these woods. We're going to camp by ourselves. And we're 8, 9 years old. We spend like 2 or 3 days building this awesome camp in the woods, getting it ready. Yeah. We build a perimeter fence around it. Got a horseshoe creek. They kind of, man, that's our back wall. Nothing's going to cross that.
It's 50% fort, 50% camp. It's 100% awesome. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. We used devil's cane and everything, and we satch to make the perimeter fence like that because we watched some African bushcraft shows on how they made the fence against the lions. We're ready. So we finally get out there where we're spending the night, have a good fire going, and we're in our sleeping bags, starting on off, and we hear something coming through the woods. Ooh. Way off. Mm-hmm. It's really thick timber, and it's busting through trees. It's snapping branches. It's big, whatever it is, and it's coming right for us, and it's loud.
I'm calling it now. It's a cow.
So
calling my shot cow.
I grabbed my 22, and I believe my cousin Steven, he had his. And I'm thinking...
Which is the known caliber of choice for the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Or the Boggy Creek Swamp Monster?
Boggy Creek Swamp Monster.
There you go.
So I'm thinking it's somebody coon hunting, and it's their dogs running.
I see that.
It's that loud.
Okay.
And so the sound gets almost right in front of us and stops. And I start yelling. Hey, is somebody out there? If somebody's out there, let us know. If there's a hunter, we're we're going to shoot. Like, I don't want to shoot without seeing you, but we're scared. And
I see this in Jace. Like I absolutely see your son. Like,
oh yeah. So about 2 minutes of silence in, we hear splashes simultaneously on both sides of the little horseshoe creek that are where we're at.
there's 2 of them.
And there's at least 2 of them. We know that. And it seems to us, in our mind, they're circling us because we heard them cross the creek again. Whatever it is, circling us.
Oh yeah.
And big.
Big.
So I'm like, hey, I'm going to shoot down in the ground a couple times. Whatever it is, we'll spook it off. You know, can't imagine what it is. Like, just mind's racing. So shoot down a couple times.
Especially when you're 8 years old, you got an over hyper imagination.
Yeah. So shoot a couple times, doesn't phase it. Whatever it is, still there. So I'm like, all right, what is not going to be afraid of a gun that's circling our camp right now? We can still hear it loud. It is just outside of like flashlight range. Back then we didn't have the lights we got now that you could see, you know, into another dimension.
You had a candle.
So it you know, the reflections off our little fire. We're trying to build the fire up and everything. So finally, I did something not wise. Right on the edge of the light, I saw something move, and I shot with my 22. Doop, and nothing. If anything, everything got louder and more intimidating. So I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at my cousin. I'll never forget.
I got a second thought now.
I'll never forget the last words I said to him. I looked at him because we were talking about running, and I was like, dude, so it's a solid run through the woods, the briar patches, for half a mile to get to the big red 3-wheeler to get out of here. And I was like, I think we got to make it. And he's like, yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. So I looked at him and I said, toodles. Apparently, up in Arkansas, he didn't know what toodles meant because he just watched me jump the perimeter fence and go out into the woods, and then he's right behind me. So, of course, we get turned around a little bit, trying to get to a logging road where we can find the 3-wheeler. Overshot it by half a mile, and I'm like, I'm not going back. We're running. So we took this 7-8 mile hike in the dark back up to the house, and went out there the next morning, and apparently I had hit what I was convinced by the end of the night after talking to my grandparents, the Boggy Creek swamp monster, one of them.
Armadillo.
Nope.
Oh.
Turkeys.
Oh.
I guess something jumped or spooked some roosting turkeys, and they were trying to figure out where to roost or something. And they were obviously from the tracks. They did go all the way around. It was dark. They were scared. They were confused. So yeah, I shot a young turkey.
Hey, there's the Boggy Creek swamp.
The Boggy Creek swamp monster. But hindsight, I would have gone with pigs. But the gunshot's what it not being scared of the gunshot. It was because they were blind and they
Didn't know any better.
didn't know where to go.
So one of the spookiest things that's happened to me, and you were actually here for this one, and it maybe spooky is not the right word, maybe eerie, but we were hunting here in Grimes County a couple years ago, and we're hunting through thermal and do the whole thing. We see this young coyote pup, and not a pup, but it was not a full size dog. Let's call it an adolescent coyote, whatever the hell that is, right? And so I said, hey, it's running right over this old homestead. Let's go after it. And so we hop the fence and we're kind of chasing and we lose it in some tall grass. And we're looking. And then all of a sudden, this pup cooks off a little locator call. And that pup probably wasn't, 30 to 50 yards from us? It was close. And then the next thing you know, its entire pack responded with the locator to the pup. And it turns out that we were in the middle of their pack, all within 100 yards. And the eerie thing about it was the pup let off a yip, and they all responded, but they responded like one at a time. And so there's imagine yourself in a circle. All of a sudden, like at noon, there's one. And then about 2, there was another, and then 4.
Oh, they were letting us know
6.
they had us surrounded.
Oh, and then so it was the yip, and there was a little low howl all the way around. And then once they reached back all the way around, like they found everybody else, that's when they let out that big,
Yep.
and it was long and it was dead calm, and for a reason, I remember it getting kind of cool at night.
It's cool.
And it was, every hair on your body just stood up, and you're like, oh, that's creepy. And I don't think coyote really. Have you ever heard, besides somebody harassing a coyote, you ever heard anyone actually being attacked by a coyote?
No, not an adult.
I hadn't either. They just sound spooky, right? But it was, you're like, uh-oh, I'm in danger.
Yeah, you hear about the coyote every once in a while grabbing a kid or something, or is that a dingo?
Dingo.
Ate my baby.
Ate my baby.
Yeah. No, I've never heard of a coyote. I've heard of people getting bit by coyotes doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, I get that. You get them in a leg hole trap or something. That's different. But like, out and about, all of a sudden a pack jumps them. I never heard that.
No.
Mountain lion, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
never coyote. But you're talking about Bigfoot, right? And this I'm gonna preface this. I am paraphrasing a story that was told to me by a coworker because he is the first person viewpoint here.
Okay.
But it's too good not to tell a story. So the Sam Houston National Forest supposedly has Bigfoots. Bigfoots?
Of course.
Whatever. And enough that there's a fancy term for it. If you go down 1375, there's a sign that says the North American Wood Ape Conservatory, which is the North American wood ape, APE, is the Bigfoot. Whatever, right?
Makes sense to me.
So there is a group of folks. They come from all around.
Yeah.
They're exactly what you imagine.
No, they are.
That they're hunting Bigfoot, and somehow they have Bigfoot calls, like mating calls and locator calls. It sounds like someone taking a microphone going, oh, but that's my best Bigfoot.
Okay.
Either way, so I'm not going to name him. He's retired now, but I'm not going to name him out. But he worked near the Sam, and back when we were doing the game warden thing, we'd work a lot of late nights and poacher sets and stuff like that. So this fella called up and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know that we're going to be in the forest tonight. It's mating season for the Bigfoot.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to go play some mating calls and see if we can get a Bigfoot to answer."
Okay.
And this is like the middle of the afternoon.
All right. Cool.
And so
it'd be so much better if they were doing it in the dark. But yeah.
It got there. So about 2:00 in the morning or so, he's working. And he's pulled up in a like a service road gate. We lean that chair back and put our feet up and just listen, look for spotlights, listen for shots, people slow rolling county roads, whatever, right?
Right.
He goes, man, I've been sitting there for several hours. It's quiet, it's cold, and you could just hear forever. And then the next thing I know, I hear this. He's like, I thought a second. I was like, did I hear something? Because you can sit there long enough and you kind of you hear crap that ain't there.
Yeah.
And he goes, I hear it again, and then I hear it again, and I hear it again. It gets a little louder. So they're walking towards me. They're wherever they're at. They're coming this way. And then he goes, about that time, I'm like, oh, it's the Bigfoot people. He goes,
time to have some fun.
So he says, I sat there, and all of our patrol trucks had speakers in the front, so we could talk there to give commands or whatever it is, right? So I turned that sucker all the way to 10. I grabbed my microphone, and after the last time they called, I went, and I just put it up, and I never answered again. They played it over and over and over and over and over, and I just thought it was funny, and I never thought about it again. It gets so much better.
Hold on, I'll backtrack just a quick second. So when you said it was mating season and they were playing mating calls, all I can think of is like the mentality of these people, like Bigfoot's primate, humans primate.
Yeah,
I could just hear them like blaring, boom, 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 boom.
Or just like the Pornhub intro or something.
Yeah.
The answer. So the story gets so much better.
Sasquatch hub. Yeah.
I'm sure there's some on there.
No, it would be Bigfoot Finder.
I like it.
There you go. Okay, sorry.
Anyways, so he goes, it was a couple years later, I was watching TV, and a guy's being interviewed about hunting Bigfoot. And he goes, when this question got answered, he goes, I almost peed my pants. I was laughing so hard. Because the guy being interviewed goes, so, what's your best moment? What's the number one thing that's ever happened to you in your quest for Bigfoot? He goes, hands down, I got the answer to that. He goes, several years ago, I was in the same Houston National Forest, and we were calling, and I got a response. And I've actually had Bigfoot answer me one time. He's like, I couldn't break this guy's heart.
He's so much nicer than me because I would have been like, so the second I realized it was them, it would have been game on.
Oh yeah,
because he's got the thermal the night. Like he could have messed with him a lot more.
Oh yeah. But just
no, that's. But he did it perfect, right? Just do it and walk away.
Just walk away. But I'll never forget that. And even listen to him tell the story because he tells it so much more animated. Just that poor guy.
That's awesome. We have fun in the woods.
You got to, right?
Yeah. It's unknown because there are some dangerous things out there, some big things, some unknown things.
Mine have always been because I got myself in that position.
Yep.
I've been in a lot of those.
I'm not what you call a smart man. So when I was 14 years old, 13, 14, I don't know. I was always in a cast as a kid because I had motorcycles and I climbed trees and I was a boy and I did dumb things all the time. By the time I was 21, I'd had 18 different broken bones. I wasn't brittle. I was just really dumb and tough and didn't care about breaking things in order to prove a point or have a lot of fun. So I had just got a cast off my arm, an elbow cast, for doing something dumb on a motorcycle. And I had re-broke my arm and had another elbow cast on the same arm. And I was in trouble. And I knew it. Mm-hmm. Parents were like, dude, chill out. Like, don't do anything dumb again.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, okay, I won't. So about 48 hours later.
2 hours later.
I walk into the woods with my trusty 870 Express, same one I have today, my 12 gauge, and loaded up full of buckshot. And I walk out, try to kill some pigs. And sure enough, it's thick Yopon woods. I get in about a half mile, 3/4 of a mile into the woods.
I just imagine you walking like you're saying how the whole way.
I remember that one. The first one was purple. That one was red. And yeah, I'm carrying it right here, and I'm going to use it as a shotgun rest.
Why not?
And I did. So I hear pigs, and I see a couple run in front of me, and somehow my vantage point is to where I can see over these Yopons, and at about 10 yards, there's a pretty decent-sized boar. Not huge, but probably 180, 190 pounds.
Solid boar.
And he's maybe 10 yards, probably closer to 6. Mm-hmm. He's just right there on the other side of this bush. And I put my 870 there, put it right behind the ears, pull the trigger to watch his ear and most of the flesh on the side of his face disappear and him get real angry. I'd loaded it with buckshot, but I had like number 8 shot in the barrel that I forgot. Oops. Oopsie. So I don't know if he actually ran at me and knew where I was or was chasing me, but I sure felt that way. Now, I know the only ass whooping I would get worse than coming home with a broken arm was coming home without my shotgun. So I wasn't going to drop it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm running. The only thing I can think of doing is there's a pond. So I dive in because I feel like the pig is like right on my heels. He might have ran the other way. I don't know. In my mind, I'm being chased by a nightmare pig. Hogzilla is about to eat me.
Gets you every time.
Between me and that pond,
I'm sure you're supposed to get that cast wet.
Well, wait, it's better. Between me and that pond, there was one damn tree that might have been 8 inches around. As I'm running as quick as I can with my shotgun in my good hand, I guess the left arm's kind of kicked out. And I hit the tree so hard with my cast, it broke my arm again. It popped it out because it only had like 48 hours to heal.
You sure you're not just brittle bones?
And then I hop in the pond, and the water's deeper than I thought it was, so I had to drop a shotgun. So I make this horrible walk of shame back home with a ruined cast. I know my arm's rebroken, and I don't have my shotgun.
You just hit like every box of what not to do.
This is hard to explain. And I'm, at this point, in so much trouble that there's no sympathy for me that my arm's broke again. Like they're fuming mad. And I go.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of how dumb can you be?
Oh, and when we walk, even the doctor, when we walk back into the ER, he's like, dude, there's no effing way.
Dude, you got to get a free cast off of that one because, I mean, that's an epic story.
Like, they can't even laugh at me. So they cut that stinky one off, reset the arm, no painkiller whatsoever. Pretty sure 2 doctors did it, and I'm pretty sure they enjoyed it at that point. I'm just screaming at the top of my lungs. They reset it. On the way home, they're like, for real, man.
Don't.
Stop. Like, lay in bed for the next 8 weeks. Do whatever you have to do. CPS is going to get called on us. Like, So I get home, and all I can think about is my shotgun laying in the bottom of a pond in 6 feet of water, rusted. Well, that thought just keeps searing into my brain day in, day out, day in, day out. So after about 2 weeks, I gave it a good solid 2 weeks to heal. I go on a mission. Parents aren't home from work yet. I take a couple garbage bags and some duct tape. I duct tape the garbage sacks around my arm, walk back to that spot, and I start diving. Floundering around with one arm. And guess what? I found it. And you know what you can't do with an arm that's all taped up in garbage sacks, it's broken, and hold a shotgun? You can't swim that good. So nobody will ever know how close I came to drowning, but I somehow God gave me a little bit of sense, and he's like,
that's a lie.
He said, because by that time I'm slipping, I'm letting go of the barrel, and something just made me grab the end of the barrel and push down, and like the butt of the gun touched the bottom of the pond, and I was able to put my head up and catch a breath, and then I felt better. I was like, okay, I can make it there, and I did, but and the cast did get wet, but I came home and I had my shotgun. I got to clean it up. And that's why everybody picks on me about every once in a while carrying that shotgun out in the field when we go dove hunting or something when we have nicer ones. But it's because of that story.
Oh yeah, and I think if you grew up hunting in around water, you're gonna have a missing. For some reason, it's always an 870, but it could be a Mossberg 500 or just a shotgun of any manufacturer. But I've also got a funny missing 870 story. So I was 16 or so. I had to be 16 because I was driving. Anyways, I went up and visited my grandmother for Christmas. She lives in Rockwall. And just outside of Rockwall is Lake Levon. It has a bunch of core lane you can walk in. And I was going to go duck hunting. And this is back before I knew anything. So it was just me, had my shotgun. I had a bag of decoys, a little mesh bag on my back. Yeah. I was going to walk in to this little spot I found on a map. And I was like, I'm going to go hunt right there. All right. Well, I got there too early. So I ended up taking a little nap in the truck.
Yep.
Because, I didn't know how long stuff's going to take. And this was 16. This would have been about 2001 or 2. So the internet really wasn't it. MapQuest sucked. So cool. You couldn't trust it. So I get out there and end up walking in. But it is exactly what you'd imagine around like a core lake. It's all these like little trees and scrub brush and just nonsense. So the whole way you're going through, you're just like trudging through. And I had neoprene waders on that weighed a ton, and I had all my crap on my back. And I got there and I set up and I had a pretty good duck hunt. Shot my limit, so that went for me.
That's solid for a 16-year-old by yourself.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That's cool.
But I had found out once the sun came up, I took the hard way. And I was going to take the easy way back because the way this cove kind of sat, I could see the road. And I was like, oh, I could probably just follow the shoreline and not have to trudge through all this bull crap. Not doing this twice. Because at least my decoys would float was my theory. So I pick all my stuff up, got all my everything ready, and I start trudging across the cove. And this is before I had dogs. And so I knew that my furthest decoy I could get to because I'd waited out and got my ducks and walked back to where I was hiding. And so I got all my stuff and I was like, all right, I'm going to walk across this cove, quickest point, straight line, and I'm going to just walk the shore all the way, right?
Because this shallowest point, but it's the quickest.
Went kind of deep a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. But I was being lazy. I'm going to walk that way. And everything was going good until it didn't.
Until it wasn't.
So it was beaver den, a hole, a something. But whatever it was, I went from like waist deep to underwater like that. And so when all of a sudden the earth fell out from below me, bloop, right? And you fall, and what your natural instincts start grabbing and stuff. So, well, guess what went missing? My shotgun. And
Poor little 870.
Poor little 870. It ended up being about, I don't know, probably 7 to 8 foot of water. But there was definitely a hole.
Yeah.
Like everything was fine, but this hole just happened to be deep. And there ended up being a tree that I didn't realize. So I think the water kind of undercut underneath this tree that was underneath the water. And it's 30 degrees, 32 degrees. It's December. It's cold. My waders are now full of water. I'm soaking wet. And I get to go swimming. So for about the next hour, I prodded along with my foot. And every time I thought I felt something, it was down we go. And sure enough, after about an hour and a half of bam, found it. Like when what happened, I kicked it first and I was like, oh, I know exactly what that is. Like it just felt different. And I dove down and found my shotgun and poured the water out of it and walked all the way, ended up skipping this hole. Like really, I stepped in the only hole in this cove. That was the insult to injury, because once I knew where it was and I had all my stuff back, I started kind of like, like if you're on like thin ice, you start kind of like put that little toe out and you're testing where you're going. I stepped in the only damn hole. Like the rest of the cove was shallow, except right at the base of where this tree fell over at some point and was decaying under the water. And so, I mean, I get back, I'm soaking wet. Now I'm on the side. I parked on the side of the road, so now I'm in my underwear. I don't have any other clothes, so I'm having to wring out all my clothes. So I get in my truck, and I've got it running. I got the heat running full blast. I'm just sitting there, in my underwear, just freezing. But I got my shotgun. I got a full limit of ducks. I had a great morning.
Sounds like a great morning.
And here's where, what do they call it? A butterfly effect. Like one thing causes another, another. So ever since that trip, that shotgun, and remember the 870s from like the 90s, they had that real rough texture finish. They always like rusted real bad.
Yeah.
That gun always rusted real bad. It was that same shotgun that I learned the Cerakote on, that started Circle Star, that put us where we're sitting today.
There you go.
So if it wasn't for a hole in the middle of Lake Lavon, this may never have happened.
Hey, that's funny. It's weird how the little things have an effect. It's the snowball.
And what you say is 100% true, because I still take that shotgun once or twice a season just because.
It's sentimental.
It is.
You got a story. Yeah.
And heck, that same gun got another story. If you ever look at it up close, my granddaddy, I had it, we had a mule. It was the UTVs, like when they first dropped. He got one. He was so excited about it. Put a scabbard on it, on the headache rack of it. And I guess I was using it one day, and I pull it into I put it in the scabbard, and I just had it parked outside. Well, Granddaddy went to move the mule into the garage and wasn't paying attention. And where he pulled in, he caught just the edge of the stock and cracked it. I mean, like 90-degree curve. And he felt awful, right? And I was asleep. I never knew this happened. I think I got that shotgun when I was 12 or 13 years old. I was in middle school. And, my granddaddy's gone now, but bless his heart, he felt so bad about it. He stayed up all night long. And, I found this out the next day. He went and got my Nana, and they boiled a pot of water and got the wood soft, because Granddaddy liked the woodwork. So he got the wood soft to where you could bend it back, and he put 2 screws and a whole bunch of wood glue and some sawdust he mixed up in there so it all kind of blend right. And if I didn't show you where the crack was, you wouldn't see it. But he stayed up all night to make sure that my shotgun was perfect the next day, because he felt so bad. And it's probably one of my favorite guns just because of that. Because you can see it right where the pistol grip, like your thumb goes over, and Granddaddy came to the rescue.
Duck hunting's a dangerous sport.
It is. I've got a bunch of those.
I had one. So my cousin, kind of like you, we were the same age back when we were doing all the shenanigans. 13, 14 years old, maybe 15.
45.
And I'm guessing,
we're still full of shenanigans,
he was trying to convince me, duck hunting's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's like, we're in Red River Bottomland up out of Bradley, Arkansas. He's like, hey, we're going to wake up super early. We're going to pull a P-row across a pasture, and I got a honey hole.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, cool. It's like, it's a pretty good walk, though. I'm like, cool. So at 3 a.m., we wake up. Now, I'm going to say we didn't go to bed, so probably closer to 1 a.m. We get out there in this pasture, and it's red dirt, and it's mud.
Oh,
so every step you're going, way past your ankle in mud.
Yeah, squiggle that little boot out.
What he called a P-road turned out to be a 14-foot John boat that we had to pull about a mile through the mud.
Yay.
We got there and shot one greenhead all morning, and I decided, and it just stayed like right in the middle of this 80-yard slough. It was right in the middle and wasn't moving. And it was cold. It was, upper 20s. And at the end of the hunt, I'm like, I'm getting that bird.
Mm-hmm.
Got down to my underwear. Didn't think this through real good.
Nope.
Got down to my underwear. Made it there. Started locking up. Started cramping up a little bit because it was cold. There was ice on the water. And
it's always that first when you get in it.
Oh, yeah. I made it about 40 yards in, and somehow in my mind it made more sense. I felt like I was closer to the other side than I was to going back. So I got over there to the other side, so I'm 80 yards away from him through the slough, and for real hypothermia set in. I'm in my underwear. I have no way to make a fire. I'm in trouble. Mm-hmm. And thank God he's got an arm. He threw a lighter far enough. I got the lighter somehow and made a little fire. And he went and got a truck, and somehow or another with the boat wound up getting me out. But because we couldn't get the boat in because it's too grown over. And anyhow, duck hunting's a dangerous sport. Mm-hmm. But everybody's got those great stories. Well, I almost died.
So I've got one more friend duck hunt story, and then I want to. We'll figure out what our favorite. If you start thinking what your number one favorite hunt memory is. But you're talking about duck hunting being a full contact sport. When I was stationed in South Texas, we worked a lot of commercial fishermen coming over Mexico and illegally fishing and netting in Texas waters. And I'm going to just use dates, but let's say like on a Friday, me and one of my partners, we had gone what we call working commercial fishermen, and we caught a guy that was illegally netting in Texas waters, and routinely they would run from us, and if they couldn't get back to Mexico quick enough, they would just beach their boat in Texas and run off in the woods, and we just seize all their stuff and do our whatever. And that's what happened. This guy went to the back of the cove, beached his boat, ran out in the woods, and we were like, and we just took all his stuff. And we were always under the impression, and a lot of times it did happen, that they would contact a person in Mexico to come pick them up, coworker or whatever, right? Well, just turns out we ended up catching this guy in one of my favorite duck hunt coves. And so that next morning, me and one of my partners, his name's Paget, he's still a warden. I think he's in Comal County now. Anyways, that we take my boat, my personal boat. We're like, hey, let's go duck hunt. And we go out there, and we're not far from where this guy beached, and Paget was with me the day prior. And so my dog at the time, as was Gunner, real chill, real calm dog. We're sitting there, shot a couple birds, and he starts like angry growling, that low, like, go away, like, I'll bite you. And I'm like, and I figured it was cows or deer or whatever. And I was just like, Gunner, quiet, right? Hush. And the next thing I know, a dog that was always pretty chill does that same low growl and just takes off. Like hard run down the bank as fast as it possibly can. And I was like, what happened? And then I hear screaming. And at this time, me and Patrick are like, what the hell's happening? And so we go running down the bank as fast as I can in waders. And sure enough, it's the same guy from the day before. He was pushing my boat off the shore in an attempt to get back to Mexico. And now my dog has him pinned on the other side of the boat. And as he goes to one side, it's like the whole thing, like running around a table.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he's terrified of my lab. And he got my boat in the water. It was floating away. And so we ended up calling a Border Patrol to come get the guy and bring me back my boat, because now it's floating off in the middle of a dang cove. But Yeah, you gotta be cautious. Sometimes someone might try to steal your boat to make it home when you took his boat the day prior. You just never know.
You never know. It's an adventure every time you go out there. That's what it's all
I felt
about.
bad for the guy because we woke up that morning to sheet ice around Lake Falcon, and it was.
Oh, he had a rough night.
Oh, he had a miserable night.
Yeah, I would have stole your boat too.
Yeah, I would have. I can't blame him. I mean, I wasn't really happy about it, but I can't blame the guy. I just thought it was funny. So favorite memory. I know mine. Which, if you had to choose one,
Man, I don't know that I could. I've got a bunch of short stories, a bunch of long stories, but it's hard to choose a favorite. I enjoy them all so much. And a lot of them are little excerpts. They happened so long ago and stuff. I was hog hunting with some buddies when I was it's something about that puberty age 15, 16, 17. That's when most of the dumb stuff happened.
Oh, yeah.
I fell and got.
Oh, you think we're taking Travis to Montana?
Yeah, that's. I got popped by a copperhead and it was right in the peak of the Beavis and Butthead craze. And so these two guys I had to walk back with as 15, 16-year-olds the entire time. Dumbass.
You bit by copperhead.
You got bit by copperhead. And literally, it was like it was an hour and a half, 2 hour walk back, and they never stopped. Get in the car. Mom's there. Mom, of course, panicking because after 2 hours, if you got ventilated, you're getting some pretty good swelling going on. She blows through every stoplight. I had much more of a chance dying from my mom in a car wreck.
Did you the copperhead?
They never broke character. Like so much so that my mom is screaming at them at the top of her lungs to shut the F up. And my mom doesn't talk like that. And they never stopped.
That's awesome.
And
that's another good friends. That's how you know.
And at some point, when she's losing it and crying and everything, like the beauty of the chaos just hit me. And or it could have been hallucinating from the snake bite. Either way, I started laughing, and yeah, she pretty much had a nervous breakdown. I went in and got that taken care of. But little experts like that, or I think I talked about it in a previous episode. Where my hands froze, and not only could I not shoot the big buck that walked out, but I couldn't unzip my pants. So in 5-degree weather, I had to relieve myself, and I felt like it was cool. It was like the scene from Dumb and Dumber for a second, like just go. Oh, that's warm. It was warm for a second.
They got cold,
but till it turns to ice, and then that's no fun. So man, there's just golly so many. You can do this for hours and hours and hours on end.
See,
but you say you have a definite favorite story.
I do. It is with my buddy Travis, and he's always been my buddy since day one. Like, we're best friends, even though he's a turd now because he's trying to become a teenager, but best friends. And this was, 9 years ago now. So that would put him, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old,
okay.
4 years old. He was young. I guess probably 5 or 6. Either way, that he wanted to go duck hunt. Dad, let's go duck hunt. Let's go duck. And it was January, and it was a warm January because I was doing yard work. And he's like, Dad, can we go duck hunt? And I said, let me get my chores done. We'll go out for a little bit this afternoon. And he's a rambunctious kid, so he's not going to sit still. He wasn't really set up for duck hunting, but I was like, you know what? We'll just go, and it'll be fine. Like, we'll go out to a little pond we had access to. We will go duck hunt for 15 minutes because that's as still as you're going to stay, and then we'll just go about do whatever.
Bounce out. Yep.
And so we're sitting there, and it's hot. I mean, when I say it's hot, it's like an 80-degree January day. It's crazy. And so we're standing there, and there's some ducks. I hear some wood ducks off the left, and I quack a little bit, see if I can get them to pick up and move, or and whatever the reason. So it's me, it's Travis, and I still had no, this was Cash, my old guy at the moment. So about 10 or 15 minutes into it, here comes this pair of wood ducks that swoops up. I go, all right, well, I'll shoot that one. Bam! And I shoot it. I drop the Drake because I could see him bigger in Dallas, and he falls off the way. Send Cash out for the retrieve, and when he comes back, it's that you can see it. My first band.
Yeah.
I never shot a banded duck before.
Yep.
I've been there when other people did it, but I never had one, and I lose it. I'm screaming. I'm not screaming like mad. I'm not screaming excited, right?
Yeah.
And I could see the band on the leg, and Cash has it in his mouth, and I'm afraid he's going to like hard mouth my bird and just tear it up. I can't get it mounted, so I'm screaming, Chief, stop! No, sorry, I'm screaming, Cash, stop, stop, stop! Good, sit. I'm giving all the commands, and he's reading off my body language, so now he's getting excited. I'm trying to run over there, and Travis doesn't know what's going on, and keep in mind he's little.
Yeah.
So now he just hears me screaming, but he doesn't equate it to excitement. He just hears noise, and so now he's crying because he doesn't know what's happening, and that's just his answer. He's like bawling, and I end up getting the duck from Cash, and I'm hugging Travis. I'm excited. Yeah, we got it. We got one. We got it, Ben. Travis doesn't know what's happening. He's like crying. I'm like, no, buddy, this is good. We want, and I try to explain it to him. He's like, we're happy. I'm like, yeah, we're happy.
Poor kid.
It's like every emotion you can have at one moment. But yeah, so I shot my first banded duck with Travis on Travis's first duck hunt I ever took him on. I forgot to add that. I'd never taken him prior. And that was the last bird that Cash ever picked up.
That's cool, man.
Because that was January. That March he got hurt, and he's never been. So it was
you see, that one's special. That's one of the heartwarming ones.
It is.
Yeah.
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 And if for y'all that come through the shop, if you look up in my office, that's the wood duck you see in the window. That's that duck. I keep it in my office for that exact reason.
It's a cool looking mount too. You
got the hen coming out of the knothole and everything.
It's one of the coolest mounts I've ever seen. Heck yeah. Well, cool, man.
Well, guys, we appreciate y'all listening to us.
Tons and tons and tons of these stories, and
that went by a lot faster than I thought
just
it would.
don't want to bore you with all of them. I got a list. I got like 4 off the list of all of these that I wrote down in like 2 minutes. I could fill these pages up. And we've got a bunch of hunting stories that we've horrible and dumb things and exciting things, great things we've done together.
Oh yeah.
We've almost died a couple times, but also experienced some really high highs that makes it all worth it.
Those are the times that you remember. No one ever says like, "Hey, you remember the time you came over to the house? We sat there and had a good conversation on the couch."
No.
Hey, remember that time we played cars on the carport? No. You remember that time we almost died? Oh man, that was a good time.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
I don't know how he survived.
Man, would you do it again? Oh, in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely. Hell, right now, while everybody's listening to this, we're doing it right now in Montana, somewhere 6-8 miles deep in the mountains chasing bears. So humping it with 80, 90 pounds on our back, and loving every minute of it.
And hopefully no bad stories come from it. Hopefully it's all good stories. Hopefully. Either way, it's going to be a story.
It's going to be a learning experience for your son. I know that.
I'm excited about that. I knew it was hard getting to this just because he was struggling in some schoolwork and having to be a good dad and make the hard decisions. But I'm really, really excited over.
Oh, I'm so he's.
I think this is one of those like fork in the road moments in his life.
Yeah.
Like he's either just going to decide like, hey, this isn't for me, or he's going to go like full on like hunting bum and just follow.
I can see it. I dig it.
Follow the seasons. Like I'm gonna start in Canada. I'll see you on January.
I'm excited. I love me some Travis. He's been he's my little buddy too, and we're gonna make sure he has a good time. But I guarantee you, it's gonna be so new and so out of his element. And we're not. We're doing Grandpa teaching you how to swim style.
Oh yeah,
we're throwing you right into the deep end.
Yep. You're gonna drown or you're gonna swim, but either way, you're figuring it out.
And the whole not breaking the boots in thing, that's gonna be something.
It's gonna be something.
Is he wearing them today?
Nope.
Golly. Yeah, you gotta learn somehow.
I may take him to the track this evening if it ain't raining. Just make him walk some laps.
Yeah.
Something.
Anything.
Like, I mean, we're as of filming this podcast now, we're like 48 hours out. He's so screwed.
Yeah.
They're not breaking him in.
Oh, poor buddy.
I wonder if I can get the same stuff you break in a baseball glove with to help break the leather a little bit.
If I were you, I in your pack, or I might have room in my pack. I don't have any room in my pack, but I could figure out something. Just take a pair of his tennis shoes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like his, outdoor regular tennis shoes, because there'll be plenty of times he can wear those, and there'll be plenty of times he wants to wear those.
I get you.
Yeah. Well, cool, guys. Thanks again. If you get the opportunity to like and share, tell your mom and them.
Do all the things.
Do all the things. If you're watching on the YouTube, make a couple comments. Man, dude, tell us what you like, what you don't like, your favorite part of the show. If you have a hunting story that you want to put down there where everybody else can read about, that'd be great.
And the other thing, too, if you go over to our website and you subscribe to our newsletter, we're adding more events. There's specials. There's all sorts of stuff that we're doing through the shop that keeps you abreast of everything. And we try to keep you in the loop of all the fun stuff.
Because we can't, the Facebooks doesn't like us. Actually, all social media hates us. So we got to do it. Do it yourself if you want a job done right.
I mean, that's unfortunate, but that's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast. Guys, thank y'all so much again. We appreciate you. We hope you're out there living your best life. If you get the opportunity, come in and say hi. We love it. We love sharing all these stories and through all this nonsense that we do out in the woods, we're always taking different gear, trying on different stuff, and we can give you honest opinions on that stuff too.
And I guarantee you this, if we recommend it, it's because we own it, have it, and use it.
Mm-hmm. And if you take anything from all these stories we just told you out of it, go get you an 870 Express if you don't have one.
You can't kill it, even if you try.
Because you're going to have some bad times with it, but it's going to last forever.
Oh, it's been a push-pull. It's been a paddle. It's been all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
It's pulled friends into the boat.
Yeah. Man, you got to love them.
Yeah. It's the Swiss Army knives of shotguns. It's going to help you do everything.
Guys, y'all have a great week. Thank y'all so much for listening.
Bye, everybody.
You've been listening to the Circle Star Firearms and Outdoors podcast with your hosts Jake Coffin and Jason Westmoreland. Be sure and subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. New episodes drop every Monday, and catch up in between episodes on the Circle Star Minute every Friday. For more information, visit CircleStarFirearms.com, or better yet, come see our great new store at 6320 Highway 90 in Anderson, Texas. Until next time, safe shooting, folks.